exciting learning adventure in the world of science. I hope that you are fine and doing great while studying at home. I am very excited to be with you today and be part of your learning adventure in exploring the amazing world of science. I am Teacher Joylene and I will be journeying with you today as we explore more about the science world in different sources of water, Grade 4, Quarter 4. Are you excited to learn new things with me today? Great! For today's learning adventure, you will be able to identify the different sources of water, explain the use of water in our daily activities, and show the importance of conserving water. What can you say about the pictures? Where does the water came from? Those that you see in the pictures are all examples of sources of water. To start our discussion with our lesson, let us sing together the song entitled The Water Song.
Sip, sip water to quench your thirst. A gulp of water for an energy burst. Drink your water day and night. It keeps you feeling just right. Water is better than a sugary drink. It'll help you play, it'll help you think. Better than any drink on the shelf. It's so great for your health. Slurp, slurp water while at your school. A cold glass of water makes you feel real cool. It'll make you grin and help you feel fine. Drink your water all the time. The formal name is H2O. It'll make you strong, it'll help you grow. From the tap or by the case, water puts a smile on your face. Keep a bottle of water within arm's reach, while on the field or at the beach. Running, swimming, riding, or on a swing. Water is everything. Water is everything. Water is everything.
I'm thirsty now.
What do you think is the message of the video song you have watched? Do you agree with that? Your answer is appreciated. Let us continue our discussion. What are the sources and kinds of water? Are you familiar with it? Water comes from different sources. It may come from an open or closed sources. It may also come from a small body of water or a big body of water. Others come from clouds as rainwater. Water is a chemical substance composed of hydrogen and oxygen, existing in gaseous liquid and solid phases that is essential to all known forms of life. Water is a clear, colorless, odorless, tasteless liquid that freezes into ice below 0 degrees centigrade and boils above 100 degrees. Water is one of the vital elements needed in our day-to-day activities as a living being. But how often do we think about its source? Where does the water came from? How is it treated? How do we know it is safe to drink? And many other questions we ought to raise. The following are the major sources of water: surface water, groundwater, and seawater. And the major components is rainwater. Let us discuss one by one the major sources of water. Number 1, surface water or fresh water. Surface water is water on the surface of continents such as in river, lake, or wetland. It can be contrasted with groundwater and atmospheric water. Surface water can be used for cleaning, washing, bathing, preparing food, and other household uses. It sustains plants and animal life. It is used to water plants. It is given to animals to drink. Without water, animals and people will die of thirst. Example of sources water as lake. A lake is a body of water that is surrounded by land lakes and may also be created by landslides or mudslides that send soiled rock or mud sliding down hills and mountains. Another example of surface water is pond. A pond is a small area of still fresh water. It is different from a river or a stream because it does not have moving water, and it differs from a lake because it has a small area and no more than around 1.8 meters deep. Some ponds are formed by rainwater, sometimes known as dew ponds, and other ponds are man-made. Next example of surface water as streams. Streams typically derive most of their water from precipitation in the form of rain and snow. Most of these waters re-enters the atmosphere by evaporation from soil and water bodies or by evaporation of plants. Another example of surface water is brooks. The smallest body of water is the brook, a natural stream of water that is found above the ground and is often called a creek as well. A brook is usually a tributary, a small body water that naturally flows into a large one of a river. But this is not always the case. Another example of surface water is a swamp. A swamp is an area of land permanently saturated or filled with water. Many swamps are even covered by water. There are two main types of swamp: freshwater swamps and the saltwater swamp. Swamps are dominated by tree surface water or fresh water in rivers. Another major sources of water is groundwater. Groundwater refers to any source of water that lies beneath the soil layer. Groundwater can exist in the soil itself or between rocks and other materials. Example of groundwater is waterfalls water. From the waterfalls can be used for domestic purposes like washing clothes, utensils, and other things at home. They also helping irrigation of the different crops in the country due to the changing weather that affects farmer. Another example of groundwater is springs. Springs have provided sources of drinking water for humans for millennia. Many homes, farms, and cabins use spring water as a drinking source by constructing a protective hut or a spring box that keeps critters out of the source water. Next example of groundwater is a water wheel. The oldest and the most common kind of wheel is a water wheel or a deep wheel to access groundwater in underground aquifers. The well water is drawn up by a pump or using containers such as buckets that are raised mechanically or by hand. Another example of groundwater is the water from a pump. Pumps are a common means of lifting water from a clean groundwater source to a useful point of access. But all pumps have moving parts and are therefore destined to break. Next example of groundwater is the water from a faucet. Filtered and treated water that's safe to drink, called potable water, is then stored in a reservoir which it gets pumped through underground pipes called water mains to your house. A water pipe known as a service lateral line connects that water main to your house, plumbing, and brings the water right to your faucet when you turn it on. Another major sources of water as seawater is a complex mixture of 96.5 water to 2.5 salts and a smaller amounts of other substance including dissolved inorganic and organic materials, particulates, and a few atmospheric gases. Seawater constitutes a rich source of various commercially important chemical elements. Seawater is a salty which contains plenty of salt and it is found in the seas. Seawater is also called hard water. Seawater is the habitat of marine aquatic plants and animals. An example of seawater is ocean. An ocean is a body of water that composes much of a planet hydrosphere. The ocean is one of the Earth's most valuable natural resources. It is the largest sources of surface water. Another example of seawater are seas. Seas are smaller than oceans and are usually located where the land and ocean meet. Typically, seas are partially enclosed by land. Seas are generally larger than lakes and contain salt water. And the major components of water is rain. Rainwater is the major components of water. It deposits most of the fresh water from earth. It continues to supply of fresh water to the river, which recharges the underground water. Okay, let's do it! I'm pretty sure that you understand the lesson very well. It is clearly stated and discussed. This time, I want you to comment down below of what is your learning or insight about this topic. Congratulations, kids! You have successfully completed the lesson. Thank you! Until next time!